In today's video, I will be ranking every single Blox fruit in the game, from the worst rocket fruit to the decent sand fruit. So make sure to like and subscribe. I'm almost 2,000 subscribers, and I hope you enjoy this video, and let's go on to the video. The first fruit we're going to rank is the rocket fruit. Now the rocket fruit, there's nothing special about this fruit. Damage wise, really bad. And I mean, mobility is not really that bad, since Rocket Crash is a good combo starting move. But there are better options clearly, and Blast Off, you can fly and dodge attacks, I guess. But it's still not the best, because it's heavily outclassed, it's just a common fruit. And the other thing is, I think every move breaks can in direct hit, which is another good way, but in visuals and damage is really bad. So the rocket fruit is easily an F tier. Now we're moving on to the spin fruit, and the spin fruit is even worse than the rocket fruit. But the spin fruit breaks even more instant, because every single move of the spin fruit breaks your instant. But that's just it. In damage, it's just similar to the rocket, and the mobility is even worse than the rocket. Which is why the spin fruit is going below rocket. Yeah, it's even worse than the rocket fruit. Now moving on to the blade fruit. The blade fruit has an M1, which is really good in grinding. But the blade fruit main purpose isn't in fruit stats. Yeah. Like, if you use blade fruit in fruit stats, you're most likely using it for grinding. Now first, the Z move, it does really bad damage. And the X move, you have to hold it, and it doesn't even break instant, both moves. But the C move, it breaks instant, and the damage is okay, but like I said, these moves are not the main purpose. And the F move, you can fly like Kilo Fruit, but these aren't the main purpose, because the main purpose is here. Now, the blade fruit is completely immune to swords, which means NPCs with swords cannot hit you, and even players with swords can't hit you either. So you can just use a sword and a gun as your main weapon, and then just use blade fruit to avoid taking sword damage. And that is why I'm rating the blade fruit into the C tier. Only because with swords and guns as your main, it is decent in PvP. Now, I don't even need to explain this fruit, because this next fruit, the spring fruit, is the absolute garbage. Like, this fruit has absolutely no use. Like, spring snipe, it has leg, and spring cannon, no mobility. It bounces your NPC up, and spring emperor. Like, people can trick it so easily. And there's literally no use of this fruit. This fruit is absolute garbage. That's why the spring fruit is going below the spin fruit. It's so bad. The spring fruit is literally absolute garbage. Now for the bomb fruit. Now the bomb fruit is not that good in PvP. But there is some little use of the bomb fruit, which I will show it on later. And damage wise, really bad. I mean, the landmines literally got nerfed after like update 27. It got nerfed. And the only move which is good is the explosive jump, which allows you to dash, and the self-destruct, which does 10k damage when fully charged but loses 25% health. And in grinding, it's honestly not that bad in grinding, but nobody would use this in PvP. It's so bad unless you're doing a challenge. Now the reason why the bomb fruit isn't an F tier, is a D tier, is because it literally does 28k to CBs, the tap version of the landmines, which is really good for CB's grinding. It even outclassed Magma, which is shown in my other video. And I wasn't even using accessories that buffs damage to C events. And it already does like 28k damage. That's literally crazy. And which is why, like I said, I'm giving the bomb fruit the end of the D tier. It's honestly not that bad. And moving on to the smoke fruit. The smoke fruit, it does not really good damage, the Z move. But the C move, it does decent damage and good mobility. And finally, the smoke bomber is really good in grinding, because you just have to hold this move and it will spawn smoke bombers, and yeah, it's just that simple. Like, and it's a Logia also, which makes you immune to physical attacks. Really good in grinding. And finally, smoke blast. It does 6k damage, really high damage, and your enemies cannot move during the smoke blast, similar to Love X. I'm giving the smoke fruit a D tier above the bomb fruit, because smoke fruit is much better at grinding. The next fruit is the spike fruit, and the spike fruit is also really bad. I mean, in damage it's not that, it's okay. And the Z move is based on how many spikes it hit the enemy to determine its damage. And X move, it makes you a sitting duck, but it holds your enemy also and breaks instant. And the V move, you can curve the V move with the cursor. And finally, the Z move, this move just carries your enemy and they literally cannot escape this. It's uncantrickable and it always carries your enemy. But as you can see, every move of the spike fruit is probably just floor based, which means if your enemy is guy camping, you're basically cooked. I mean, I would still prefer the spike fruit than the rocket fruit because it has stuns and it has combo potential on the ground, but it's still an F tier. Now moving on to the first uncommon fruit, the flame fruit. This fruit does a lot of damage. Yes, it does a lot of damage. The Z move already does 4.7k. And the Hakan move, it's called Hakan in One Piece, so I just call it Hakan. And the Hakan does 3.7k. And then the C move, look at this. Really good combo starting move, only just after the first hit is cantrickable. But people use it for like combo starting, is really underrated and good. And finally, the V move, Hell's Core. Look at the damage, guys. Just look at the damage. Oh my god, look at the damage, 7k, and including the tech damage, it does 8.4k. That's literally so high damage. And flame combos are made for his high burst damage, which means if you accidentally wasted your instant and someone is using a flame combo at you, you're basically done, because the damage is so high. I don't even need to explain, the flame fruit is an easy top A tier. Yes, it's a top A tier. The damage is literally insane and some pros actually use this fruit in PvP. And the next fruit is the most unskilled fruit in the entire game, which is the ice fruit. Firstly, it's really good for grinding, it has an M1. And secondly, look at the Z move. The Z move, even though after the first hit, people can cantrick it, it does 6.5k. And the X move is okay damage. The C move, it has literally no end lag. Like you can M1 twice during your opponent is stunned. Like this is crazy. The C move is so good. And the V move is okay, big AoE, but it has end lag. Now the reason why the ice fruit is the most unskilled fruit in PvP is because with Cyborg race, this fruit is literally a literal nightmare. Like if it gets you, it's over. And this only applies with Cyborg. Like you turn on Cyborg, Iceberg, and then M1, and it just do this. Like it's 17k damage. Like what is that damage? And if you like the ice fruit, you have to use Cyborg. Like this fruit is so OP, but it has one fatal error. Now even though this fruit is so good, people can sky camp and kill you. Like if they just have to stay on air and you basically can't do anything. I'm placing the ice fruit below the flame fruit, even though it's really good in PvP on the floor. I don't even need to talk about this fruit, the sand fruit. Its combo potential is so high. And most importantly, the Z move, the range is insane. Like it hit the NPC from there. And Sand Coffin is so good, the stun is so long. Sandstorm, pretty good I would say, as a combo extender, and Deep Sand, damage wise, really good. Now the reason why I really like the sand fruit is because the sand coffin is literally all it takes. Like if you land sand coffin, you can extend pretty much anything. You can extend in Sandstorm Sea and then just do Yama and whatever you want. Like one sand coffin is all it takes. And the sand fruit is one of the few fruits which can do infinite combos because of the X move. I'm giving the sand fruit even above flame. Like this fruit is so good in PvP. Now for the dark fruit is mainly for sword mains. But let's test the moves. The Z move, it dashes forward to your enemy if it hits. The X move literally pulls your enemy and breaks your instant if it's a direct hit. And the V move, it literally sends a giant dark bomb and does decent damage. And the C move finally is a really good combo starting move, yeah. But just like I said, the dark fruit is mainly for sword builds. I mean, just look at this Buddy Sword combo. Like, you do Dark Sea, and then just, yeah, and then just extend it like this, and then probably Sharpman Z, and then Sharpman C, and then just do Buddy Sword X, and it's definitely a one-shot combo. Now, I'm going to give the Dark Fruit a B tier, because it's outclassed, but it's still pretty good. It has good stunts. Now we're going to talk about the Eagle Fruit. The Eagle Fruit is actually really good for grinding because it has an M1. And even though the damage wise is not that good, the combo potential is really good. And most importantly, besides the C move, everything breaks your instant. I mean, the C move still holds your enemy down even though it doesn't break instant. Like, the combos of this fruit is heavily slept on. I will honestly call this fruit almost meta in PvP, but it's still not meta because it's outclassed, but it's still pretty good. Like, this fruit is so underrated. People doesn't seem to know the combo potential of this fruit. Don't even call me crazy, but I'm placing the Eagle Fruit at the end of A tier. Now we're moving on to the fruit stats portion, which is the Diamond Fruit. This fruit used to be the best fruit in update 26, before update 26, but they nerfed it, but it's still pretty good. Now, even though every move is cantrickable, not every move, I mean, if it's a direct hit, oh my god, what just happened? Okay, just look at the damage, 3.3k just encrust, and dashing does 2.9k, and it's similar to Portal, you can dash, which is pretty good. And the V move, even though it doesn't break your instant, it does a lot of damage, 5.5k. The X move, even though it's nerfed, sometimes it breaks your instant if it's a direct hit. I mean, just look at that. Just look at the damage, bro. Like, how are you telling me this fruit isn't good? And it even gives you a 23% defense when you're encrust. Like, oh my god, just like look at this. This fruit is still pretty good, even though like it's nerfed, but it's still not bad. It's actually not that bad. I'm going to put the Diamond Fruit above Eagle. I mean, it's still pretty good. Now moving on to the Light Fruit, and this fruit is the combination of PvP and grinding. It's so good in grinding and also so good in PvP if you have good aim. Like, the Z move does 5.3k. The X move does even more. Look at this. It does 5.8k. And the C move is cantrickable, but it does 4k and it has good range. And finally, the M1s makes you really good for grinding, and it's also a low gear which makes you immune to physical attacks. And if you have good aim in PvP, this fruit is literally for you. Like, this fruit is so good in PvP if you have good aim. And in grinding, it's one of the best. So I'm giving the Light Fruit an easy S tier. It's a combination of PvP and also grinding. And now for the Rubber Fruit, which is used by Luffy, and this fruit is okay, but there's a lot of moves of this fruit is cantrickable. Like the F move is easily dodgeable, and the C move is also dodgeable if it's not close enough. But it does a lot of damage. Like, just look at that damage. It does literally 10k damage. But without sideboard, this fruit is not that good. So that's why I don't really recommend using this fruit in PvP, unless your enemy is a lightning user. Because Rubber is completely immune to lightning and guns, similar to One Piece Luffy, I will place Rubber at the top of the C tier only because it's good for fighting lightning users. Now for the Ghost Fruit, now personally, the Ghost Fruit, I only use the Ghost Fruit when I'm using Sharp Anchor and Source stats. Now this fruit is, I would say, it's okay at grinding, but the damage wise is actually not that good. Like, and even I think everything is cantrickable except the X move, so that's a huge problem. And I think the flight ability, even though it seems really fast, is actually really slow. Yeah, it's even slower than Rocket, as I remembered. But when I click the V move, it spawned 2 clones for me, and the fact is, people cannot tell which one is really you unless they turn on instant. And the best part of this fruit is you have a second life after you die, which gives you a lot of survivability. But I still think the Ghost Fruit is only below Dark at B tier. Now this is the Magma Fruit, and this fruit does really high damage. Let's look at this. Like, one move, it does... Wait, let me check. How much does it do? It does 17k damage. 17k, that's crazy. This fruit is mainly for C events and grinding. The reason why I say Magma in PvP is so trash is because besides the X move, everything is based on ground. So it's only good for killing NPCs and C events, but I would still think Magma is not that bad overall. I will place Magma above Dark only because it's really good in C events and also really good in grinding. Now for the Quake fruit. Now this fruit is a little bit controversial, but I personally think it's not that bad because every single move breaks your instant. Like for example, like maybe like Fatal Demolisher. And it literally, just look at this. It grabs your enemy and then it does an insane animation like White Bear striking a Kainu. Like, I personally think that this fruit is not that bad. It has really good combos with God Human, and damage wise is actually okay. But the problem is everything is ground based, but if you're lucky and manage to land the V move on your enemy, it grabs your enemy back on the ground. I would say it's actually decent in PvP. Yeah, it's actually decent, but I would still prefer Eagle than Quake. Now, personally, I would rather use Quake than Dark or Ghost in PvP. Quake is actually underrated. Okay, I don't even need to explain this one. Like, the Buddha fruit is absolutely goated. The top one best grinding fruit in Blox fruits. Literally. Like, you can use this with swords, fighting style, or guns. And with CDK and Dragon Trident, you can basically spam everything. It's really good in PvP, top tier in grinding, top tier in bosses. Everything is so good off this fruit. Except one thing, which is it makes you a bigger target. But it still has decent damage reduction. And for the moves of the Buddha, I would say it's okay. But it's not really needed. You only need the Z move. You basically just need a CDK or a Dragon Trident and transform into Buddha and spam everything. And you win almost every fight. I don't even need to explain this one. Buddha, easily S tier, above Life Fruit. Now for the Love Fruit. The Love Fruit, I would say, is probably and really underrated fruit in PvP. In grinding, it's actually decent because of the V move. And when you hit by the Z move, your opponent does much less damage. And the X move is absolutely goated because they literally can only walk but do nothing in the domain, which is really good in PvP. And the C move, it just drags your enemy towards you. But the Love Fruit is a really underrated fruit in PvP. The X move literally carries it a lot. And it's really good for grinding because you can spawn a friend and it will help you kill NPCs. Now personally, I would place the Love Fruit below Flame. It's still pretty good, but I would prefer Flame or Sand in PvP. Okay, now for the Creation Fruit. Honestly, I have nothing to say about this fruit. This fruit is actually so bad. Like, I mean, you can block people, but it's not good for grinding. Batter Up, can trickable. The Sleight of Hand, can trickable. Sword Box, traps the user, but still can trickable. Like, 3 moves can trickable. What is this, bro? Where's the rubber? Okay, and I mean, the Magic City breaks your instant, and you can teleport when you go through the buildings. It's okay. And I also like the fact you can build up by holding Fortify, similar to Fortnite. It's okay, but honestly, this fruit is not that good. Like, 3 moves is can trickable except the final move, which breaks your instant. Now, in damage, it's okay, but it's not good for grinding. Okay for PvP, but it's heavily outclassed by other fruits. Like, only people use this fruit for fun in PvP. And you can build things, there's literally nothing to build. Like, there's no point of building in, like, Blox fruits. Like, what's the point? I literally would prefer Blade with sword stats than Creation with fruit stats. Creation is actually not that good. Don't judge by its rarity. Now, the next fruit is the Spider fruit. Now, Spider, not really that bad, but it's not good either because it's literally outclassed by other fruits. Now, the Z move does okay damage. X move is a really good move for a starting combo because you cannot can-trick it and it stuns your enemy. And if I'm not wrong, if every move is a direct hit, it always breaks your instant. Unless it hits on the edge, and the C move is based on how far your enemy to determine the damage. And now for the V move, it does a lot of damage, but you have to hold it, which is a problem. And this fruit is kind of outclassed by other fruits, but it's still okay in PvP. Yeah, it's still actually not that bad in PvP. Like, I literally would prefer Quake or Dark than like Spider, because Spider actually requires skill. And Spider is actually really trash in grinding. And now for the Sound Fruit. The Sound Fruit is actually the best PvP fruit. It's near meta. I wouldn't say it's meta. I would say it's near meta. Yeah, it's near meta. And the X move is cantrickable, but the C move, literally a nightmare. You cannot cantrick this. It's like an guarantee instant breaker. It's so good. The Sound Fruit, and when you fully charge this meter, you actually get some decent buffs like damage and probably like I think speed also. And damage wise, really good. Combos, okay. Now even though this fruit is below average in grinding, this fruit is actually really good in dealing with teamers. Because the C move always picks your instant. Now even though the Sound Fruit is much better than the Light and the Flame Fruit in PvP, it's not good for grinding. So I'm placing it in high A tier. Now Phoenix is actually not that good. Like, I mean the M1 you can dash forward is okay, but the damage is so bad. Like, there's only Z move and C move does damage, other moves does not do damage. Like, it just heals or support. Like, this is not a good for like PvP. And it's really bad for grinding also. But the moves have really fast cooldown, and I like the C move animation which literally sends your enemy up and slams them down. Really good animation, I would say. But it's still a really bad fruit. Like, it's not good for PvP, and it's trash for grinding. I mean, I would say it's okay for killing Terror Shark, but I would rather use Magma for killing Terror Shark. Like, it's heavily outclassed. I'll place Phoenix probably below Spider and slightly above Rubber, I think. Now this fruit I don't even need to explain again. The Portal fruit is literally currently the meta. Along with Control, I think. Portal and Control are currently the meta in PvP. So I don't even need to explain this one. It's easy an S tier. With the true triple katana sword stats, this fruit is an easy S tier. Like, we're talking about a fruit which can transport you to anywhere and insane in PvP. For the lightning fruit, this fruit is slightly worse than Portal, but it's still pretty good in PvP. And don't even get me started to the X move. Is the best fruit for C events. The X move is absolutely god tier in C events. And just look at the V move. Like, the AoE literally covers half of the area. Like, that's literally crazy in PvP. And it's also a Logia, which is okay for grinding, I think. I'll place the lightning fruit above the light fruit. It's an easy S tier. And if I'm not wrong, the pain fruit should be doing more damage if the pain meter is higher. And personally, I think the pain fruit is only slightly worse than the lightning fruit in PvP. But it's literally an S tier. I don't even need to explain it. And damage wise is really high. And here is a feature of the pain fruit. When I die, I didn't really die. I mean, yeah, I have 30 seconds of another life, and I do slightly more damage, and my speed is increased a lot. I can basically be a runner. I can run really fast, which is why the pain fruit is actually good for like running away and avoid losing bounty as a runner. I'm going to place the pain fruit between the lightning and the light fruit. Now the next fruit is the blizzard fruit, and this fruit is extremely criminally underrated in PvP. And it's also really good in grinding because of the F move. And for damage, I would say it's okay. The final move, the blizzard domain, does a lot of damage, up to 10,000 damage. And in PvP, this fruit is actually really good. And it's also a Logia, which you will probably get immune to physical attacks. I'm going to give the Blizzard Fruit an A tier. It's pretty good. Now for the Gravity Fruit, this fruit has an M1, and it has really high damage. And most importantly, every move breaks your instant. Well, technically, the C move, you can cantrip at the final blast, but it doesn't matter. And when you have enough gravitational force, you can hold the C move and then send a literal meteor holding them and then it will explode, do a lot of damage. And don't even get me started to the V move. If you have full gravitational force and you hold right click and V move, you will send a literal planet to your enemy. And this move ignores your opponent's defense. That's crazy. I'll place gravity below the pain fruit. Now for the mammoth fruit. Now this fruit is actually really bad. I mean, like, in base form it's the worst grinding fruit. The damage is really bad as a mythical, and there's nothing good about this fruit. But it all changes when it's in transformation. Now in transformation, it does much more damage. And the best part is you can hold Stampede to go through stuns. Which means if someone uses Lightning X on you, you can just go through it with Stampede and do damage. I'll place Mammoth at the top B tier because unlike Eagle and other A tier fruits, Mammoth is not good for grinding. Now for my favorite fruit in Blox fruits, the T-Rex fruit. This fruit actually has some decent saucy combos. And this fruit, the X move is a really good combo starter. And don't even get me into the transformation. Like, this transformation actually has a tech meter. And the best part is T-Rex in transformation can actually do a full combo. Like, if you turn Cyber Refree, do this, and then just, yeah. And it's already 24k damage. Like, that's literally crazy. I'll place the T-Rex fruit probably a tier below Sand, but it's still pretty good. Now for the Doe fruit. The Doe fruit is also considered one of the meta fruits in Blox fruits in PvP. And because it has infinite combo potential, and the damage of the Doe fruit is pretty high as well. And you have probably seen some Doe combos which is inescapable because Doe is literally uncantrickable, which makes it really good in PvP. I personally will place the Doe fruit a slight tier below the pain fruit, but it's definitely above gravity. Now for the shadow fruit. The shadow fruit is a little bit out of meta, but it's still honestly not that bad. The problem is the shadow fruit, I think 2 moves or 3 moves cannot break your instant. Like the V move literally can't break instant. But it's also decent for grinding because the F move literally does a lot of damage. But overall, I would say this fruit already fell out of the meta, so it's not really that good in PvP. Okay, so I'm going to place the shadow fruit, let me think. I think it's below Quake, I would say. Quake is still better at PvP. Now for the Venom fruit, this fruit is literally bad at PvP. Now even though the Venom fruit 100% breaks your instant, this fruit has almost like barely any like combo potential. But there's 2 things which I like the Venom fruit is it's okay for grinding because the F move, and it's extremely good in C events. And thirdly, I would say the C move acts like Cyborg Refree, which I really like it, yeah. But overall in PvP, it's not really used in like actual fights. It's more like a C events fruit. And in transformation, to be honest, it just makes you a bigger target. It doesn't have M1s, but it does have really high damage, which is why I think it's mainly for C events. Venom is just only good for C events. To be honest, I'll place it between Dark and Ghost. It's just not that good, okay? For the gas fruit, this fruit in base form is actually not that bad for grinding because it actually has an M1, which is pretty cool. But in PvP, the base form is easily cantrickable, so I don't really use gas in PvP base form. But everything changes in transformation. Because in transformation, you're literally as tanky as a mammoth, and you spam more than a mammoth. And basically with Gold Race, you literally cannot die. Yeah, I literally mean it. And not to mention, the gas fruit M1s actually holds your enemy for a while. Which is why the gas fruit, personally, I'll rate it at the top A tier. Now for the spirit fruit, this fruit actually has insane combo potential. Insane damage. The problem is, it's not good for grinding. But in PvP, it's near meta. I would say it's near meta. But it's still not the best. However, you can spawn M1s and increase your speed and probably heal faster or just spawn enemies. Now, in my opinion, I'll place Spirit above Sound and Flame, but it's below T-Rex. Now, don't even get me started to this. The tiger fruit literally has a 1-inch punch reference to Bruce Lee. And don't even get me started to the Z move. Like look at the AoE, it hit the NPC from there. But even though the tiger fruit is spammy and good in PvP, the overheat version, like when I click transformation and I overheat myself, the moves aren't really that good in the overheat version. But I would say it's really fast. Now I personally prefer the normal transformation of the tiger. I wouldn't click overheat with tiger. It's not that good. Because the transformation normal version is much better. I'll place tiger between gas and T-Rex. I would say it's better than T-Rex, but it's not better than gas. Now for the mutation of the tiger fruit, the werewolf. I personally think the werewolf, it has a better Z move if you're close to the enemy, but it's definitely not better than the tiger. I would literally prefer the tiger than the werewolf, with only the werewolf actually has a better overheat version than the tiger. But in overall spam, I would prefer the tiger. I'm going to place the werewolf probably below T-Rex because I honestly think T-Rex is better. Now for the Yeti fruit, in base form, it has a lot of knockbacks, and in transformation, I would say it's a little bit spammy. It's not that bad, but it's still outclassed by the T-Rex fruit. Now since the Yeti fruit is outclassed by the T-Rex fruit, I'm gonna place it probably between Diamond and Eagle. Now for the Fiend fruit, this fruit is the worst mythical fruit ever existed. I mean, the super dash literally just grabs your enemy and they can counter you. And the Z move doesn't even break instant. And the damage of this fruit is so bad. The M1's really strange. I mean, it acts like a Yeti sometimes, but it's just a worse version than the Yeti. Like, you're not going to land this in PvP. Damage is also really bad. Like, what M1 actually does 3.9k in a full M1? This doesn't even make sense, bro. I'm going to place the Fiend fruit below Phoenix, with the only exception it's spammable, so it deserves a C tier. That's just it. Okay, I don't even need to like fully explain this. Like, Kitsune is literally the best in every category, one for all. It's good for C events, it's good for PvP, it's good for grinding, everything is perfect. The untransformed version is even spammier than the transformed version. I don't even need to explain this one, it's an easy S tier. But it's still below Portal in my opinion. Now for the Crimson Kitsune, the difference is the Z move sends a literal beam and does a lot of damage. And the M1 is worse than the normal Kitsune, but I like the beam actually does a lot of damage. Like, look at this. Like, the damage is really high with the beam. And transformation has different animations. But in my opinion, I honestly think the Crimson Kitsune is slightly better than the normal Kitsune. I'll place Crimson Kitsune below Portal and above Kitsune. Ah, yes, the absolute meta of the control fruit. Like, this fruit is literally banned in tryouts. Like, that's how crazy it is. This fruit is literally banned. Like, if you want to go into a crew, you cannot use this fruit to try out. It's literally banned. That's how crazy this fruit is. Like, I mean, just look at the C move damage. It literally does 10k damage in just one move, bro. Like, what is that damage? Yeah, control above Portal. Literally. It's stronger than Portal. It's the top tier fruit. Now for Dragon, in base and hybrid, if the fight starts on the floor, it's absolutely goated. Because the C move is actually insane AoE. But once your opponent fights on the air combats, you're basically cooked because you can't land the C move. Now for the fully transformed Dragon, you're literally a walking nuke. You can spam everything. And it's also immune to stuns. But the only problem is it takes 9 light years to turn around. Now for Dragon, I'll place it below Doe, but above Gravity and Light is S tier. But in transformation, it's definitely the best one. Maybe a little bit below Portal, I think. And yeah, this is my tier list. Let me know what you think about this tier list. And it's just my opinion. So yeah, make sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you on the next video. Goodbye.